we got the new kitchen. This one is Z. It smells really good. And then we have mine. There's still a bit of parchment paper here. Okay. Now it's good. So anyway, this one is mine. I let the crust burn a little bit, but it also smells really good. It's still pretty hot, so I'm gonna have to wait at least an hour before I open it, but I can open this one right now. Perfect. Oh, it's so freaking soft. It's really loud right now because I'm cooking beans. We've been living in Berlin for a month now, and honestly, I've been really loving the city. It's such a different vibe from Munich or any other city I've ever lived in. There are a few things that remind me of Lisbon, to be honest, but yeah, I just have been really enjoying it. I'm having a social life again, which, well, I guess that always happens when the weather is better. Cold weather doesn't really motivate you to do a lot of stuff. You know, you kind of just want to lay on the couch with the blankets, binge watching series or watching old movies or whatever. So it's been really nice that the weather is finally good again, so that I can actually leave the house and be with people. But even just like other things, like I go on walks now. Like what? I feel more motivated to do stuff because I feel like I think Munich is a very beautiful city, but it had its issues like any other city, of course, but I felt like it wasn't a city that I was motivated by, if you know what I mean. It wasn't really inspiring to me. And I always felt very stuck there, creatively, emotionally. I was always muting myself so that I wouldn't stand out. People were always so serious all the time. And here I feel like there's a lot more variety. Not only like I mean, each neighborhood is completely different from the other, of course, but it's like I just feel like you see a lot more variety, not only in terms of culture and skin tones and nationalities and stuff like that, but also the way that the people dress are so much more creative and fun. And I don't know, there's definitely like a Berlin style going on here. I mean, there's a lot of internet memes about it, but I don't know, I just feel like it's a different vibe and I kind of prefer it. I don't know, I feel like here I can finally breathe again and I feel free to be myself. And I don't know why I wasn't able to feel this way when I lived in Munich, but anyway, I already talked a lot, but I was basically finishing getting ready. We're gonna go to the cinema to watch Beau is Afraid with Joaquin Phoenix, and I'm actually very excited about that movie. The trailer looked super cool, and also I really like the director. It's the same person that directed Midsummer. And yeah, I'm very excited about that. I loved Midsummer. Trying really hard to get out of this reading slump. Is it working? I don't know. Mornings there's not a lot of light on this side of the apartment, so it's really weird how dark the kitchen gets and the dining room, which is also my office at the moment. In contrast, our bedroom gets so much light in the morning. The sun has been rising very early because we're so up north here that I think it's gonna take us some time to get used to. And honestly, I'm not even complaining. It's just something that I'm not really used to, but I actually really like it. But it's such a weird contrast between the bedroom and like the other side of the house with this side. I guess we'll have to see how it is in winter, but I think it's gonna be hard. I don't think that this side of the house is gonna get any light during winter. So yeah, I'm a little bit afraid. Our walls are still pretty much blank. I feel like we definitely need to start hanging some pictures and frames and stuff like that. Yeah, so last night we went to see Beau is Afraid, as I told you, and honestly, I am mind blown by this movie so much. I wasn't really sure what to expect because I went to it completely blind on the subjects or whatever, so I just knew that I wanted to watch it because it's from Ari Aster basically, and it's with Joaquin Phoenix, so that's good enough information for me. So I went to it completely blind, and honestly I think that's definitely the best way to go for it. I'm not gonna spoil anything about the movie or anything, but I've been having this thought for a while, but it came to my mind again after I watched that movie last night, which is basically like there's definitely this theme going on in a lot of movies for the past few years, written or directed by millennials, which is my generation. A lot of these movies kind of have these themes in common, which is basically relationship dynamics, mostly between family members. So there's a lot of family dynamics going on, and there's a lot of childhood trauma, generational trauma. There's all of these communication struggles, but also feelings of loneliness and being or feeling misunderstood by your older peers, by your parents, grandparents, basically not being understood by older generations, you know, and the loneliness that comes with that, but also like not being comfortable with be your true self, and also the struggles of growing up in a society, this capitalist society, where it feels like your worth is only measured by the amount of productivity and resourcefulness. And I think that's really interesting because I feel like me and my friends, we all struggle with these issues all the time, and we talk about it all the time. So it only seems natural that people who are from our generation are telling these stories. But what I find really interesting about these movies and stories is that everything is told from a healing perspective. And I'm not saying that people at the end of the movie are completely healed from everything, but it's like there's definitely a healing process going on throughout all of these movies. You have like Everything Everywhere All at Once, but also movies like Encanto and Turning Red. It's all about this weird family dynamics and not being really understood by your older peers. All of these stories are about finding a place in your community, in your family, and the process of trying to become your own person. And there's a lot of guilt involved, and there's a lot of childhood trauma involved. But there's also like this healing process that all of the characters have to go through regardless of their age or generation. And in the end, a lot of these characters become more emotionally mature. A lot of these themes have been around for such a long time, but I do feel like the way that these stories are being told nowadays have a lot more emotional maturity. I think it's so important that we have these stories. It does feel sometimes that we are actively trying to heal as a generation and try to process all of this generational trauma and actively trying to break cycles. And also on the other hand, we have TV series like Ted Lasso and Shrinking, which it does feel like they are trying to project this ideal way of dealing with shit within a family or a community or a workplace. And I mean, sometimes whenever I'm watching those TV series, I'm kind of always expecting for something very toxic to happen, or for a toxic dynamic between two people to emerge. But honestly, it never happens in a way. It kind of does feel like sometimes they are going there, but then they don't. And it seems like they always find a healthy and respectful way to deal with issues. And honestly, I think there's something really healing and liberating about that, and about these stories, and about these movies, and these characters. And I do feel that's why these movies and series are so successful, because they speak to a lot of people on a much deeper emotional level. Hopefully we are kind of evolving, at least emotionally, as a society. Anyway, this is just something that's been on my mind for a while. From what I've been observing, I feel like I do need to work a little bit more on this idea. I just think it's really interesting, and I wanted to share that, I guess. Anyway, I have to leave the house pretty soon. A friend of mine has been doing an artist residency here in Berlin, and today it's the opening day of the exhibition slash performance, and so I'm gonna go to that, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Ha 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 ha!